Welcome back to the Wrenford Creative Halftime Show for another rendition. I'm Gianluca DiGiacomo. Thank you so much for tuning in here at halftime. And I'm joined by a very special guest. She is the JCU class of 1990. She is a JCU sports diehard through and through, and she is the Associate Director for National Engagement and Alumni Relations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Miss Melissa Wenzler. Melissa, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm very honored to be part of this.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. So start, plain and simple. Obviously, you graduated from here in 1990. So how was that kind of discernment process for you, getting out of high school and deciding to come to John Carroll?
Well, I will say back when I graduated high school, it was more or less like just apply somewhere and go. The search process was not quite as intense as it is today. I actually had a cousin who came here, and so I came up to visit her during my senior year and just fell in love with John Carroll. It was exactly what college looked like in my head. I grew up in Erie, PA, so it was close to home, far enough away, perfect size campus, and I love the fact that we were near Cleveland but not right in the middle of the city. So it just checked all the boxes for what I wanted out of a school.
Awesome. And your time and experience here, how did John Carroll kind of shape to be the person you are and, I guess, prepare you for what was to come later in life?
Right. So, for me, I made lifelong friends here. I don't think I really appreciated my John Carroll education, specifically the Jesuit education, until I got a little bit older and a little bit more removed from my time here. But I know that it was one of those formative experiences for me, again, that I don't think I really realized how much it impacted me until I left here, graduated, got a job, came back, got my master's degree, got married, had kids, raised a family. So I'm really grateful for that experience, and I lean on my Jesuit background and my Jesuit education every day in my life.
Of course, and for yourself, on the in-between from your time as a student here to working here, how was life outside of the parameters of University Heights for you?
Yeah, it was great. So, I met and married Chris Wenzler. We graduated together. We got married in 1992, and we welcomed our first child in 96. So he was the sports information director here for over 30 years. So his job was not the usual 9-to-5 job. So I was working in a field where I had, pretty stable hours, and so I was able to sort of hold down the fort while he was doing his thing here. So it was a great job. It was more or less, sales and marketing, which I really loved. But when I had a milestone birthday after our children were a little bit older, a little bit more independent, I realized that the work that I was doing was not meaningful. I always loved that Chris had a joy about his job. His job impacted so many students, and he really made a difference in their lives. And I wanted something similar. So the job in admissions opened up, and I took a stab at it, and I got hired. And so I've been on staff back here at the university since August of 2018, and it's the best decision I've ever made, other than getting married and having my kids.
Of course. And on that note, obviously, similar, I was just talking to Mike Hollins and how your job with admissions, and alumni relations, where you're still doing a lot of office work, but it still offers that humanistic trait, where you get to interact with people all day. So what does that mean to you? And I guess, how do you take your job?
So I love that I get to work with prospective students and families. As a parent myself, I can put myself into the place of parents that are looking to help their son or daughter make that big decision, and they're entrusting us with something that is so precious to them, and I take that very seriously. But I just love being able to build that relationship with families, talk about John Carroll, a place that I love so much, and see how John Carroll can fit the family's goals, particularly their son or daughter. So it's building that relationship, it's making those connections, it's helping those students realize that John Carroll is the fit for them, and then I love just being able to see the students that I help recruit on campus and cheering them on after graduation.
Yeah, and in an athletic sense, obviously you are kind of a JCU sports super fan in general. Any team you're always there to support, but I feel like men's soccer you're definitely a little bit closer than some other sports. So talk me through, I guess, that journey.
Yeah. Well, so we came to really know the soccer team when Decky was still the assistant coach. And when he was out of season, he would sort of be an assistant in Chris's office. Chris really didn't have a full-time assistant, and he really needed another adult in the room, particularly as our teams have been so competitive. Sometimes he had to be out of town, or sometimes he had to be over at the gym when things were going on at the stadium. So it just worked out that Decky was available, and it didn't help, or it didn't hurt that he was going to get paid a little extra help in sports info. So that bond, that connection with the soccer team started when Decky raised his hand and helped out in sports info, which I know was a big, not risk, but it was something that was out of his comfort zone. I don't think that was anything he'd ever planned on doing. But it was a good move in that I think he learned a lot. I know we learned a lot. I know Chris learned a lot. And now we've got this lifelong connection that I wouldn't trade for the world.
Absolutely. And it's the 60th anniversary of the soccer program. You know, we're going to see a huge McCarthy weekend as we're recording this. So from having a bird's eye lens, not only in the admissions office, you know, seeing all of the recruits come in and everything, but also being able to see the impact that the soccer program has from the alumni base to the sports information base with working with Chris. How has that journey been?
So what I think I love about the soccer team, and this is true with all athletic teams, I think here at John Carroll, is that we're preparing our student athletes to be more than just a student athlete here. We're preparing them for life. And I think the previous coaches have done it, as you can see, our soccer alumni, they're doing amazing things. They're not only incredible in their careers, but they're just really good people in their community. And Decky's leading on that tradition. I know he's a great soccer coach, and the wins and all of the success that they have on the field is amazing, and I'm really proud of that. But I'm more proud of how he is helping these men become men and men for others, and understanding that your soccer career may end after John Carroll, but being that stand-up citizen who puts yourself out there for others is a lifelong journey. And so it just makes me honored to be part of this program, to be a fan of theirs, not only for the time that they're playing, but for when they're alumni, and maybe some of them will be in the Hall of Fame someday.
Absolutely. And of course, not only just a part, but a very monumental part. For anyone that was always confused where the term Wenzler's Warriors came from, that came from, your family. And I guess the impact you've had on the program, on Dayon, and on so many crucial members of the program. So, what does it mean to you just to be honored in that sense?
Yeah, I don't even know if I can put it into words. From the moment that Chris was diagnosed in April of 18, I'll never forget that day when the captains and some of the guys came up with those Wenzler Warrior shirts. Just knowing that we had so many people backing us and coming to our aid, whether it's helping out in Chris's office when he had to be in the hospital, or just words of encouragement and just being there for us. It's a testament to just not the soccer team, but it's a testament to how special this John Carroll community is. So forever grateful for them for continuing his legacy. A lot of the current students, some of the current students that are here never knew Chris and never will, obviously, but it makes me so happy to know that his legacy lives on, not only in sports information, but within athletics in general.
Beautiful. And closing out, obviously you came and you're working at admissions at a very, crucial time for John Carroll. We are expanding our wings. Yeah. The move to the North Coast Athletic Conference, a much more, national recruiting, protocol that we're going to get, a whole lot of different improvements and renovations around the area. So what are you looking forward to most in the coming years in your job?
So I'm right now working as part of the national recruitment team. So our goal is to get to be a national brand. And so right now I'm working in the Denver area. I'm just really excited for people to know how special John Carroll is. I've always known that this is a special place, and I've always known that we punch above our weight. I look at what our alumni are doing. We've got the alumni in the NFL, but our alumni that are in the business world, in the nonprofit world, you name it. We've got alumni that are just making such a difference in their world, and I want everybody to know about that. I don't want us to be the hidden gem anymore. I want people to love John Carroll. I want them to be here in Cleveland. There's so many great things going on in our city. So I'm really excited to be on the forefront of promoting John Carroll, telling all the great things that our students are doing here on campus. And so, yeah, so it's a great time to be a Blue Streak.
Fantastic. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the Wrenford Creative Halftime Show. That was class of 1990, Miss Melissa Wenzler. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back to the action shortly. Stay tuned.